Road was closed between Hillsborough and Dromore. That has all reopened southbound as well. The A2 Deptford Broadway still closed between Deptford Bridge and Greenwich after the building fire yesterday, which is causing some delays. Hugh Broom, 5 Live Travel.
5 Live Sports Extra.
From over there, over here. Stateside sport on 5 Live Sports Extra, including baseball.
And this ball is off the top of the wall. They might wave him home, and they're going to. The 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him on strike.
Papa loved it, didn't he?
And live NFL.
Here comes the kick. It is up, and it is good.
To find out how to receive 5 Live Sports Extra and for the list of upcoming baseball and NFL commentaries, click bbc.co.uk/5live.
Kevin Crichton on an email. There will be many things that listeners and viewers to the live stream will be interested about today. Will the 3D version of The Lion King turn Mark into a fan of the format? Is Don't Be Afraid of the Dark the scariest film since The Exorcist? Will Tyrannosaur be as good as it looks? How many times will Mark try to correct the grammar of emails? But above all, there is one thing. Will the good doctor finally put Rupert Wyatt out of his misery somewhere in Hollywood by giving his opinion on Rise of the Planet of the Apes? The audience is in suspense, waiting for the answer to this key question.
No.
Well, what?
And you know, and I told you what was going to happen.
Sunday afternoon,
12 films out every. No, here's what happened. Sunday afternoon, I had a window, and I had to, because of the way the London Film Festival is going, I had to go and see a London Film Festival film instead, because I had to do an interview for the Culture Show, and it's not my fault, sir. Honestly, I've got an ex-Yat note and everything. Rupert, if you're listening, I'm not avoiding it on purpose. We were off for a month, and it's trying to catch up on the back. It's the only thing I want to see, and I'm not going to lie to you. I haven't seen it yet.
But you don't want to see it so much that you would actually just go and see it.
Well, I don't want to see it so much that I would actually not do the job that I'm being paid to do, which is to see all the stuff that is out now. I really want to see Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Give us your plan of action then. What are you going to do about it?
Well, I can't do it this weekend.
There you go. Excuse.
But it's coming out on. It's coming out on DVD very soon. So hopefully they'll send me a nice Blu-ray, and that'll be lovely. And you know what's going to happen after all this time? It's going to be a crushing disappointment. No, it isn't, because everyone else likes it. Have you seen it?
I haven't, but I've heard it's really good.
Yes, so have I, and that makes eats away at me. Have
hello,
you
Paddy.
seen it, Olivia?
Hello,
no,
Simon.
Sorry.
Olivia Colman, hello, how are you?
Hello, very well.
What a great way to start an interview, by the way. Paddy walks in with a copy of Mark's book under his arm.
And a copy of Mark's hair on his head, more importantly.
Yeah, that's true. So, first of all, why did you come in with a copy of Mark's book under your arm?
Because I've been reading it. I've been on this tour with Tyrannosaur, for all these cinemas doing Q&As. And I brought the book, and I've taken it around with me and read it on my travels. And it's all creased and covered in coffee, so it's proper, been lived in and read and knocked about and that. And I just wanted to get it signed. It's actually, the chapter about critics was very helpful to me this week, believe me.
I'm really glad, thank you very much. I take that as very, very great praise. Well, I say in the chapter about critics instead because you haven't read it.
I have read every word
is that we're completely useless and redundant and have got nothing to do with how much a movie sells.
Exactly. I was just going to proceed the chapter precisely along those lines. Olivia, I'm sorry you just walked into all this.
It's all right.
It's very good to have you here. But I would have thought the critics have been kind, Paddy.
No, they've been brilliant. Yeah, it's been great, to be honest with you. I have to admit, I was a little bit afraid of it all. Everybody pretends it doesn't matter, and but it sort of does. And I was pleased with how it's been how people have responded to it. Yeah.
Okay. Just explain the back. Explain Tyrannosaur, and then and where Olivia fits in, and then we can include her in the conversation, because at the moment she's clearly just a little excluded.
Do you want me to explain Tyrannosaur?
Well, it's your film.
Oh. Can someone else do it?
So how long? Okay, so that's very interesting. So even though it's been a part of your life for a very long time, you still can't describe it.
Well, I'm not great at the summing up thing. I mean, it's not a great pitch. No, but when I did a Q&A in Toronto and in Sundance, the first question was, could you please tell me the synopsis of this movie? Oh, you've just seen it, man. Why do you need to know the synopsis? And I realised I can't.
Should we ask Olivia?
Oh, okay.
Olivia, tell us about Tyrannosaur.
Okay, it's we've sort of coined the phrase unconventional love story.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we?
Yeah.
And it's going well.
Which doesn't even begin to explain.
But and it challenges your perceptions. So from the off, you see a man, you've made a snap decision about him, and by the end of the film, invariably you discover you're wrong. So Joseph, Peter Mullen, in it's all right to say what he does in the first minute or 7, is it?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of think that if it's in the first reel,
It's in the first half an hour.
It's
It's
all
not a
right.
plot spoiler.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
it's not a
okay to talk
spoiler.
about.
So, well, he can't put into words his anger and frustration, and he reacts with actions, and he takes his frustration out on his faithful dog and kicks him to death, and instantly feels remorse. And so you look at this man, you make a decision about him, you hate him, and the beautiful thing about the film is you end up adoring him and loving him by the end. And similarly, you see
That was a spoiler.
woman. That was.
That was a spoiler.
Sorry, sorry.
Stay in the
And that was a rude word. So okay,
What
so let's just scroll back. So we've made this Peter Muller, who always feels like a ticking time bomb anyway. So he's the man that we see right at the very beginning, and
Yeah.
he eventually runs into your shop. So just
Yes.
explain where you come in.
And so I play Hannah, who, on the face of it, is a very nice middle class woman with very few troubles, nice house, nice husband, nice car, and he makes assumptions about her and has a bit of a go at her, and she takes it, and it turns out he's wrong about her as well, and you find out they find out about each other and discover they need each other, and they become inseparable and soulmates, really.
Okay. Don't that you can't go any further than that.
Okay.
No. And Hannah is very devout. I mean, that's clearly part of the first exchanges when Peter Mullen has run into your charity shop and
Yeah.
he's hiding, and you basically want to pray for him. You do pray for him.
Yeah. Yes, and she has an incredibly strong faith, and I sort of wonder if she wears it as it's her protection, and it's the thing she needs to cope with everything that's going on in her life, and she tries to offer help to him as well, and it turns out actually they just need love, for each other and things, I think.
Paddy, just explain Eddie Marsden's character, who's married to Hannah. What can you tell us about him?
Eddie plays James, who is Hannah's husband in the movie, and I guess really the part of the film is that how people kind of live with their fears or with their monsters, if you like, and how they articulate that anger, Eddie Marzin's character is somebody who's abusing Hannah behind closed doors, and so she's in this very troubled marriage, and early on in the film Peter meets her and makes these assumptions like Olivia said, but without realising, how would he know that she was living with these monsters of her own? But whereas Joseph is a character who will publicly display his anger, Eddie's the character James is a little bit more kind of malevolent, if you like, and will do it all behind closed doors.
Yeah, and after his Alice Creed film that he did, where he plays a pretty terrifying, creepy guy.
Yeah.
Well, after seeing him in your film, I think if he appeared at the door, I mean, he's been on the show quite a few times, and what a great actor and a terrific bloke. But he scares the living daylights out of me. I don't want to meet him at all ever, because he's a monster.
Well, he's just he's a great actor, and he knows
He's a fantastic actor.
he knows when to turn it on and off, And the great thing about Eddie, like all these actors, is you don't play the damage. You don't do that. You play the human being, And I think that's the key to playing these kind of roles.
Can I just ask you, in his absence, the character that he plays, there's a couple of scenes here which are, I mean, I have to say, and I mean this as a compliment, I found the film extremely upsetting in certain places, which it's meant to be. Did Eddie Marsden have any trouble at all about? Because there are some things that he has to do, in his role as an abusive husband, which is portraying the abusive husband. I was really quite taken aback that he. I mean, did he have any worries about it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that probably I had the worst time of it. I'd written that, and
Sure.
And then you're directing it. All of a sudden, it's in front of you, and it's happening. But it's all illusion. It's all storytelling. But no, I guess all along that all I wanted to do, as brutal as the film is at times, but all I honestly wanted to do was make a love story about these broken people, and I was just, I guess part of me, we're so defined by class in our cinema, and as a society that I thought it was interesting, one of the aspects of the story where these people from two different parts of society somehow find a kinship, you know, and a love that's higher than just getting into bed. You know, it's like by the end of the film, they're like people who've gone through their own personal wars, but it's a shared experience, and they're almost like soldiers in a way. With Hannah, without revealing anything, going to a place that even Joseph's character has never gone to in his life. And
the violence, Olivia, is happening to you, or is happening to your character. I mean, was it just acting?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
No, obviously, no. What I mean that is this level of violence when it's being meted out. Is it distressing to be a part of that?
No, because during the course of all the Q&As we've done and things, and Paddy says, you don't want a method actor anywhere near stuff like that, and you want to know that since you cut and you stop and you don't have to take it with you. You've vented everything you needed to in the scene, and that's enough. And no, it never stuck with anybody.
So are you the kind of person who can do that? You can do a scene of great emotional intensity, and they're really strong scenes, some of those, and then at the end of it just out and all fine.
Well, not instantly sort of clicking out of it, but it's you're still a bit shaky after having a good old cry, but that you do know that's the end of it, and you do know you're just pretending and just showing someone else's story.
I mean, I thought I have to say that. I mean, I'd say this even if you weren't here. I think your performance in that film is breathtaking, and I genuinely had to walk around the block afterwards because it was it was really extraordinary.
Thank you very much.
But just to say, I think people could watch Tyrannosaur and think we had some kind of dark set, And
it doesn't look like a bunch of laughs.
No, but it was. It's contrary to that, it is. In a way, you don't do those performances unless you're in a safe environment. And right. There's this myth about creating this sort of chaos, and out of it comes this work. And I don't think that's the case as an actor. I think you create a place of trust where people can go into that playground. And that's how you're able to get those performances, and nobody gets injured or hurt. There's no obtuse behaviour. You only do that with trust, and we were a team, so there was never any of that.
Do you want to just explain the title? Because it's probably not immediately clear why it's called Tyrannosaur from what we've been discussing so far.
No, well, it's it's one of the. It's explained in the film, and part of me, thinks I should leave it to be revealed there. But it's just a reference to Peter Mullen's character's dead wife. It was a nickname that he had for her, And I was going to change it like a couple of years ago when I just had it in script, because I just thought in the months leading up to it coming out, I'm going to have all the, there's no dinosaurs in this movie. Where are the dinosaurs and all them kind of jokes and things, and that did happen. But I just had to have faith that people.
It never occurred to me actually.
Get their head around it.
The poster kind of makes it clear that there are. I suppose there might be some people that think it's another Jurassic Park.
Yeah. We're not talking to those people, sort of.
But it's going to surprise a lot of audience.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got some emails. So let's just play you a clip from the movies. Here's a little bit from Tyrannosaur, which opens today.
So what happened to you?
Fell off my back.
Okay. Well, you look like you need to go to the hospital.
Nah, I'll heal myself.
I prayed for you last night.
Don't think he heard you, love.
Why did you come here?
I was just passing.
There must be a reason. Do you want God to forgive you for something?
I don't want anything.
God loves you.
Does he now?
You're a child of God.
Peter Mullen has the most extraordinary voice. I mean, it's just accentuated as a piece of radio, but he's just terrific, isn't he?
Yeah, amazing.
Right, so a bunch of emails and correspondence here. Amaresh Colley says, I went to see Tyrannosaur this evening at the BFI South Bank. Really liked it. I shan't say anything about the plot, as the less known about it before watching it, the better. Be careful what you say, Mark.
Don't look at me. I'm the person who's been.
Me.
Well, actually, it's usually him.
Nadia,
Simon Plot spoiler Mayo.
Nadia says, I am by nature a very lazy person, so it takes a lot for me to bother doing something like writing an email to a radio show. However, I've been compelled to get in touch because last night I attended a preview screening of Tyrannosaur. I was pretty sure the film was going to be good. Paddy Considine is involved after all, but I was absolutely floored by it. It is a beautiful, powerful film, but special mention has to go to Olivia. In the Q&A afterwards, she very shyly and modestly kept attributing her stunning performance to Paddy's script. Yes, Paddy's script is excellent. What is left unsaid is as important as the dialogue. Olivia conveys so much fear, strength, quiet contempt through her subtle movement and delivery. There were moments in the film where I wanted to tear through the screen and hug her. I can't remember the last time I've seen an actor deliver such a potent human performance. Sterling work for Peter Mullen and Eddie Marsan, and I'm so pleased for Paddy Considine. Can't wait to see what he does next.
Thank you.
Oh,
wow.
that's amazing.
You should get off your arse more often. That's right.
That's pretty good, huh?
Wow.
And this email from Dave Morrissey. Paddy's film is amazing. Olivia's performance is one of the best I've ever seen.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave.
And you have to say, he kind of knows what he's talking about. P.S. Why wasn't I in it? No,
it's too old.
You're off directing your own film. Thank you, David.
I just made that bit up.
Can I ask a question? I know the film is not specifically about this. I know that you've said that it's about a love story about two damaged characters finding each other and finding, it's surprising. And I understand that is at the centre of it. And without wishing to reduce it, one of the things that it does deal with is the spectre of domestic violence as being something which is hidden, something which is kept out of public view, and something which is appalling. I thought it handled that very well, and it seemed to me that was handled with both an intensity and a passion, which meant that it must have been a burning issue. Even though I don't think it's an issue film, I do think it does directly address that issue, and I wonder what you felt about that. Whether that was something you were conscious of speaking about in public.
Yeah, you have to be careful with when you talk of a film like this, because there's such a connection, between myself and that work, but I'm very aware that I don't want people to think it's autobiographical. At the same time, there's elements and bits and pieces in there, and I'd been around and heard enough to know how domestic violence works. Let's put it that way. If not directly, then and I guess I didn't even research it. I just wrote what I'd heard, what I'd felt, and how a mind like James's would possibly operate, because it's that kind of ownership of somebody's soul. It's that slow manipulation and humiliation that's just so destroying in this film. And I didn't want to make an issue movie about any of it, but there was something there that I wanted to say too. Also, that the pains across the board. It doesn't equate itself to class. It's all manner of things go on behind closed doors.
But also, there's that very clear idea that, as Olivia mentioned in the very beginning, you see a character who's full of rage, taking that rage out on on an animal, lesser and trusting and unable to defend itself. And it seemed to me that one of the themes of it is that the way that anger is always expressed is to take it out on whether it's a father and a child, or whether it's an owner and a dog, or that's how that economy of power worked. And it did seem to me, I agree with you, it's not an issue film. It did seem to me that you had thought those things through to build that strongly into the structure of it.
Yeah, I had, and the guy I relate to most in the film is Joseph, who articulates his anger in a different way. And I think that at the beginning of the movie with the opening scene, it's not easy to watch, but within the story, it's almost like it's the point of his awakening, if you like. And it's sort of he's killed his last friend, and I think he starts to listen to his higher self in a strange way, and he's trying to pull himself away from the violence all the way through the movie. So when his friend has cancer and passes, the way he tries to articulate that is to take down this old tin shed, with a hammer. I think he's somebody who's desperately trying not to sort of lash out anymore and trying to contain this thing. And I guess that's come up in my work once or twice in the past, but I suppose with Tyrannosaur, it's been my first expression away from everybody else.
You say it isn't autobiographical. It was dedicated to your mother, to your late mother. Do you want to explain why you put that in?
Well, when Peter describes his wife in the film, he talks of her being a big lady and that she had diabetes and she was blind and whatever, and that's how my mother ended up. She ended up with having her legs amputated and blind and what have you. And I guess part of the film was me sort of making an admission myself about the feelings that I had for my mother once she sort of changed form in a way. I found it hard to sort of be around her because she didn't seem like my mother anymore. So I suppose there's a little bit of a mention of me sort of getting a few things off my chest in a way, or at least just, you know, sending an apology through this film or through these characters maybe to her.
And can I ask you, in terms of the character that you play, there's an awful lot made of the fact that she's Christian. She works in this thing. She believes when somebody comes in that actually maybe they've been sent there because what they need is some kind of forgiveness. And I've read a few reviews that have sort of attempted to explain that away as being like an idea that she has to create in order to understand her own suffering. That wasn't how I responded to it. I thought that was quite sincere, that she had her belief. In fact, she's one of her angriest speeches when she says, "You come in here and you mock my beliefs." Yeah. I wonder how you felt about that.
I agree with you. That's not how I'd seen it. I think she's one of life's genuinely good people. Good. And with or without her faith, I think she'd still want to try and help others. I'd never seen it like that. I think she can't help herself. If she grew up in a country where she'd never heard of God, she'd still be the sort of person who would put her arms around someone else.
Sometimes when devout people are portrayed in films, there's a sort of a mocking tone, and it's sort of quite unbelievable. And I never got that at all. Right from the very beginning, I think that was the impression that people will take away, that this is heartfelt and passionate, and you mean every word of it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, that also seems to be supported by that email that said, "I wanted to reach through the screen and hug him."
Yeah,
in that sense that actually she is a genuinely good character.
You know, it's those qualities in her, the selflessness, and this character has that in abundance, and it's like the very thing that she has, that Joseph is attracted to, is the thing that James is trying to destroy in her. You know, it's very interesting. Yeah.
Deb, on this email, I saw Tyrannosaur and the Q&A on Wednesday night in East Finchley, a sad, moving, painful and powerful film that really challenges stereotypes about domestic violence and alcohol. I can't stop thinking about it. Can you tell Paddy that Dead Man's Shoes is the best film of the last 10 years? Brilliant piece of storytelling. It's from Bobby in Pinner. Similarly, can you tell Paddy that Dead Man's Shoes is fantastic, heartbreaking, terrifying, inspiring, underrated, great British film? Paddy's performance is so good for all its stillness. Craig in Rain Hill.
It's not underrated on this here programme.
No. Thomas, huge fan of Paddy since I saw Dead Man's Shoes, my favourite film of the last decade. John, just taking this on a bit, I heard, Paddy, that you're giving up acting to focus more on writing and direction. Is that true? I love Tyrannosaur and expect you'll have much further success, but also think it would be a shame if you quit acting completely. Say it ain't so.
I can't afford to quit acting, so it ain't so. No, I just try and go between the two and be a little bit more picky about what I'm doing. But I won't give up acting. Just
but you
yet.
said there's nothing you've done has been as rewarding as directing.
No, it was. I felt like it was. I thought that I'd probably found this and call it find my calling or whatever. But I think it was an arrival for me, and it was a realisation that I maybe should have been doing this all along. And so I'll keep on writing and directing films.
Although he's in the same room with you, what is he like to be directed by? You may be rude, incidentally.
It has slightly ruined everything I do from now on, because Paddy was extraordinary, and it was. I can't really describe it without really gushing. It was. I felt incredibly safe. I felt like Paddy could tap into my head and just say the right thing for the right thing to happen. It was amazing. And something about Paddy is a nurturing presence, and you all feel safe on set, and that he knows what it feels like. You know, so
because he's an actor.
Yeah, and so he knows that you're not incredibly brave most of the time, and you're not a show off. You actually find it all a little bit embarrassing, and Paddy knows that, and so says the right thing to make you feel completely safe. And when you feel safe, you can accomplish anything. You know?
Have you had experiences with directors which have been less rewarding? I'm not asking you to name names.
Though you can if you wish.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Good.
Hopefully people have got a slightly broader and rounder impression of the film than you might get from some of the reviews and some of the reporting. There was an interview, I think it was in the Guardian, which described Hannah as, and
you
I
were
quote,
reading the Guardian, Simon. Sorry, it's just that every time I say it, I come in for abuse. So,
yes, but that's because it's the only paper that you read. I read that in association with lots
Fangoria magazine.
Yes, Marxism Today.
Yes,
anything else. So
it's got very boring recently because there isn't much of it really. But
my point being that in this article it described, Hannah, your role as, quote, the most humiliated woman in the history of cinema. Now, I think I'd
have to know more about cinema to know if that
sounds strong to me.
Yeah, it's not true, is it?
I don't think that's...
You know.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
Because that doesn't quite... I mean, because clearly there is humiliation that goes on, but the whole emphasis of what you've been saying is that it's a love story and there is catharsis in there and redemption in there as well. So,
yeah, there is. You know, we're not. I don't. That's probably why I'm not hugely successful, and it because not great at selling things. You know, but you know, without giving it the pitch, I don't. All I can say is that we made a movie and we made it about human beings and life as I kind of understand it, some of it, and I just hope that people feel interested enough to go and watch a movie about humans and not robots knocking the crap out of each other, you know.
We quite like those kind of films. Mark particularly.
Yeah, I really enjoyed all the Transformers movies, particularly since they're in 3D now.
And
let's do this. Sorry, let's do the obligatory question. Where do you both stand on 3D?
I'm not. I think when it's done well, it's fine. My kids go and they take the glasses off after 5 minutes.
Excellent.
They can't be bothered. And I think there's too many lazy films that have, you know, kind of, I don't know how they lay the 3D business on after, but they're certainly not made to be 3D.
Good.
So they're trying to sell you, you know, a
but when it's done well, it's fine.
No, but that was a tiny little caveat at the beginning. And
no,
actually,
that was the first thing he said.
All right, fine, I'll push it. Name me a 3D film in which it's done fine.
What did I want? I can't even remember, man. I go with the kids mode. There was one where it was snowing. I think it was a dinosaur thing.
Snowing and dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Ice Age 3.
But it's only because it felt like it was snowing in front of you. You know, you tried to.
Did that improve the whole movie experience for you?
No.
No.
So I don't think I've ever really. Maybe my eyes don't work in the right way.
Or maybe they don't work. 3D doesn't work for anybody because it's rubbish.
I went to the IMAX and saw a sort of like a kids, nature Beatles thing.
Yes.
And there was one point where you went, oh, and waved your arm around in front of you.
But it was 1 point.
By 1 point.
Yeah, the rest
Apart
of it.
from that, I'd just rather see
Stop being a hectoring bully.
I'm not being a hectoring bully, I'm agreeing with them. I'm just getting them to say what it is they want to say.
We see who's Carol Thatcher next, is that right?
Yes, I think that's the next thing. Yeah, that's the next thing.
Because Jim Broadbent was on just a couple of weeks ago and we were talking about being Dennis and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, my daddy.
And he's your dad. How about that? So how has it been, Carol Thatcher?
Yeah, it was fine. It was all right. I wasn't there very often.
Did you have to do a voice?
Yes.
Can you do it?
Don't know.
Why not? Come on, you asked Simon Pegg about being Scotty. How come I can't ask her about doing Carol Thatcher? She's got a rather distinctive voice.
Because you have a hectoring style. That's the problem.
So do you feel that you're being hectored?
No.
There you see.
She's just being nice. The way Paddy does bringing in your book.
That's it. And it's worked, hasn't it?
Well, Paddy, we really appreciate you coming in. There's a lot of love for you out there, and people want to, as long as you carry on acting, you can feel free to direct as well. Mark is now going to sign your book.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? He asked me to.
Olivia, we appreciate you coming in. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Tyrannosaur opens you. Have you got a good distribution, Paddy?
I think so. Yeah, like the usual. I think we're on 37 screens for the first weekend. Which ain't many, is it,
yeah,
really?
Go in the first weekend, you have to tell everyone.
And when you went to the hairdresser, did you say, can I have hair like Mark?
I said, can I have a Mark Kermode? And they went, yeah. And actually, I said, do you cut Mark's hair? And he said, people keep asking me that all the time, but I don't.
Where did you go?
I went to It's Something Hell's in Kingley Court, just off Carnaby Street, to Mr. Ducktail.
Oh, I know, fine. I know who that is. Yeah, fine. I know he hasn't cut my hair, but I know who he is. Yeah, Mr.
Anyway,
Ducktail,
where do you have yours cut? Because
I live in Brockenhurst. So
do you?
Cut the toppers.
Sometimes you wait in 5 hours at Mr. Ducktail's.
Never in Toppers. Toppers in Leamington.
I think this has become a specialist conversation, and it's time to stop. And because Hugh's been waiting to do the travel for about an hour, Hugh updates you on the travel. And thank you very much indeed to Paddy. Thanks very much indeed to Olivia. And we'll carry on with some reviews in just a moment.